in like file-based interfaces. So all those things are kind of like now you replaced with the web services you do on the PI side. So PI plays important role. ABAP plays important role because SAP offers like standard integration. But if my customer wants to customize those integrations, I will give you example as we speak, right? So, for example, we are sending material master data from SAP to Ariba. So I want to customize based on material type or material group. I want to restrict some cases. So in that case, we have to use like ABAP help, right? So they give baddies and baddies and exits where we can write our own code. So that's why we need ABAP. We definitely need to understand how the functional work on Ariba side, right? So it's mix of all, and we have a pretty good crowd. So let me. So I was told by Shubhu like I have to give like first demo. So I think it will be repetition for Shan. I think so. We'll quickly go through the demo and then we'll start our session. Okay. So let me share my screen and interrupt me whenever you guys want to ask anything. Just interrupt me in between. We want to clear as much as possible. Otherwise, we'll keep like backlogging, and we don't want that. We want to be very interactive, and feel free to raise anything you want to ask. You want to know like what is the roadmap, what is the future of MM, what is the future of SRM. Just feel free. Okay, so that being said, this Ariba training is what we will cover. I will show you like probably quickly this time, and then we can start questionnaire, and then I will jump on to today's topic of Ariba overview. Okay, so in the training, what will so I think like some of you know what Ariba is, but some of you like are very new to Ariba. So Ariba is like cloud application, right? Software as a service. So we all might be knowing like SAP acquired Ariba in 2012, and then SAP now is doing a lot of investment into the Ariba product, right? So why SAP acquired Ariba, right? So Ariba has its own network. That is what SAP was interested in, and we'll go into details further. But high level, it's more kind of like Ariba network, and a lot of suppliers are on the network which SAP wanted to utilize that, right? So SAP has its own product like SRM, right? And also we have CLM. So both SRM CLM are the on-premise version, and Ariba is on cloud version. So Ariba did have the on-premise version, which SAP might stop supporting soon, right? Because they don't encourage, they don't give like new licenses for on-premise version. So how SAP sells it, right? So if you want to go like on-premise, then go with S4 HANA, right? In future, right? So S4 HANA is the way to sell. So if you want to go on-premise, you go to S4 HANA and take like hybrid solution of Ariba Cloud. Or other option, if you want to go to cloud, then S4 HANA also is on cloud, and then you take like Ariba apps, right? So how does that map? So if we say like MM, right? So MM has very limitations. So it's more meant for like procurement transaction, but it does not do advanced sourcing, and that was what SRM and CLM supposed to do, right? RFX, auction, bidding, and like contract authoring was in CLM, like like MM source was in SRM. So we can kind of transact with supplier when we set up the MM source functionality. So we can send POs to supplier. Supplier can log in, using MM source, and then he can push like order confirmation, like ASNs, and a lot of back and forth, right? And the inbound delivery confirmations and invoice. So Ariba kind of like one part does the same thing. So I would say Ariba is mix of SRM and CLM, right? And it can also do MM part of it. So it can do requisitioning, it can do it can do like ordering, it can transact, it can share document automation, It can also do invoicing, scanning, OCR, and cataloging. So it has a lot of features, a lot of modules. So that said, we will start with the Ariba overview, and we say like what is cloud. And Ariba has recently changed the naming convention. So earlier it was like upstream, downstream. So now we don't call upstream downstream, but it has different naming convention. Okay. Yeah, so it has different naming conventions, right? So that we'll discuss today. Okay, and so what is upstream, right? So Ariba comes. So earlier Ariba, what we know is like upstream, downstream, and pure invoice automation network. So upstream, right? So what else? What we can do on the upstream side? So on the upstream Ariba, we can do like sourcing, right? We can do contract like whatever contracts we have, right? Paper contracts. So SAP cannot do that like contract authoring. So what is contract authoring? Contract authoring is like you kind of author the clauses of the contract. You negotiate the contract with supplier. So there is a lot of back and forth, between supplier and the buyer. Supplier has to accept all our clauses. If supplier wants to change some of the clause, it will come to us, buyer, and then buyer can take the legal approval. So all that functionality is within Ariba contract module. And we also do sourcing in upstream and also supply information performance management. So SIPM is important part, and right now it's like very much in demand because the SIPM offers supplier registration, right? So supplier can onboard into Ariba SIPM, and then now they offer standard integration to integrate that supplier with SAP ECC or SAP MDG. So I can cover that part as well in the integration. So if you see the document, like I'm covering upstream integrations. So what we will cover is material master data, which this is what SAP offers right now, right? So we can export all our material master data, all our BOM data, AMPLs from SAP to Ariba, and then we can use those materials into sourcing project, into contract workspace, right? So the usage of this integration is like contract workspace. We can use material masters, and then we can replicate back to SAP with outline agreement. That is the use case for this integration, right? And sourcing integration is what RFQ we can from ECC RFQ we can send to sourcing, and then we can do sourcing request, sourcing project, and then use materials and then send the request back as a PO or as a contract. So that is one more integration what they offer. And SIPM is, as I told, like it's registration process. We register onboard supplier into Ariba, and then I will show you like how you do the field mappings and how there's a web service. So how you call that web service, how you map the fields, what are the different options to integrate, and then how the data goes into SAP, MDG or ECC. So we can run through that complete cycle. Okay. So I will stop here and I will open the lines. So if anyone has any question on upstream side of it, so or Ariba overview, you can ask me. So this is basically what we will cover in our ongoing sessions.
Yeah, Ashok. Yeah, this is Ramakrishna. I have one question.
Hey Ram.
When compared with this SRM and CLM, what is the better features which is having the SAP Ariba? Why one should go for SAP Ariba?
Right, good question. So why Ariba, right?
Yes.
So as we know, Ariba is a cloud solution, and SRM CLM is on-premise solution, right? So
Okay.
the advantage to customer is like less license, like they don't have to go for licensing fees, right? They don't have to have integrators, like big project. Like if you want to implement SAP, like you have to implement as a big implementation, right? You need above resources, you need like security,
Right.
basis,
Right.
like lot of team. Plus,
Mm-hmm.
whenever you want to upgrade your solution, you
Mm-hmm.
have to upgrade. Each upgrade is a project for SAP, right? But
Right.
when you move on to cloud, the cloud is like, you get all automatic updates, right? You
Mm-hmm.
get, so there are like advantages. You don't pay that much what you pay for like normal SAP license, right? And it's very easy to like plug in, and it's like basically plug in and play. Like it's plug and play kind of technology, right? So that is like one side of it, right? And it's more kind of standardization. We get 24 by 7 SAP support. We need not have like full support team to have the solutions supported. So SAP Ariba offers 24 by 7 support themselves,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So all, all those are kind of cloud versus on-premise version of it. And product-wise, so why Ariba, right? Why SAP acquired Ariba, and why SAP didn't develop SRM, right?
Right. Right.
So the the use case for that is because Ariba has its own network, right? So we have like kind of $1 trillion value transactions right now going on Ariba network. So that means suppliers already are on the Ariba network. That means supplier can themselves upload their catalogs, supplier can upload their pricing, supplier can transact, use Ariba. It's all, they're already registered, they're already in the network. So that is the biggest advantage, right? And SAP gets value when any supplier transact any PO or invoice on the network, right? So it's
Right.
kind of win-win situation for both SAP as well as customers, right? The customer will pay less, then auto upgrade, standard solution, like proven solution already existing since many years, and then for SAP it's like more revenue if they go to cloud. So yeah, and everyone is moving on cloud, right? No one wants like on-premise system, hardware support, and lot of things, right? So
Yeah.
everyone wants to be like free,
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. What are the better, functionality which is having Ariba? Like, scenarios. Scenario, when you look at the scenarios point of view, business scenarios point of view. See, not only cost, right? Customer think, and he will look about what are the best functionality, what are the best possible scenarios which is having Ariba when compared with either SRM or CLM and whatever core module like MM. Then only based on that only he will take the final judgment, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
That's true. So let's talk about MM and Ariba, right?
yeah, yes, yes.
So, and what is your background? Sorry, Ramakrishna, you are SAP MM or
Yes, I am from SAP MM and WM background, Ashok. Yeah,
MM,
yeah.
MMWM, right? So,
Yeah, see,
yeah,
when look
let's,
at, when look at the MM, we are having so many business scenarios. Like
right,
yeah, when you look at the MRP, or when you look at the outline agreements, or when you look at the special procurement like subcontracting, consignment, and we are STOs. We are having different scenarios.
right. No, I understand your point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so let me ask you a couple of questions, right?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
you, okay, so can you do contract authoring in SAP MM? Like, can you write the contract document? Can
No.
you redline the contract document? Can you send contract document to supplier and supplier will send it back, approved, not approved? Like you can collaborate with supplier? No, right? Can you send the PO directly to supplier network? Can you receive the shipment notice? Can you see like what supplier is sending to me, like what is on the way, right? So can you do like electronic invoices directly in without using the Miro transaction? No,
No.
right? So
Yes.
cataloging, there are so many things, right?
Yeah.
Like why everyone is crazy about Ariba. because SAP does not offer, MM is gone now. MM is like, almost dying product. So lot of feature. I don't say like, I was MM, right? Like 10 years I worked in MM. So I know what MM offers. We cannot replace MM, right? But the advancement is like so much in the other space that, like MM will become kind of back end,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
whenever you want to do advanced sourcing, right? So if you see in US here, all customers go for, kind of RFX, kind of creating a project, like they start from category management, the concept we never saw in SAP MM, category management, right?
Right.
So like you have to manage your own categories, that is your material groups, I would say. So
Right.
you are as a buyer, or so it's different roles, right? So MM always is a procurement buyer. In MM we
Right.
cannot do like sourcing professional. So we have procurement professional, we have sourcing professional, and we have category manager. So those are all the roles.
Okay.
So if you use only SAP MM, the category manager role won't be supported. Sourcing professional role won't be supported. So there are distinction between the roles. So procurement will always do transaction, create PR, create PO, create RFQ. Those are very transactional level. Only like, they are always binding by the contract, or by some inquiry quotation, do very transactional level things. But then there is another group which is more intellectual, that is called sourcing professional, right? Sourcing professional, what they do, they negotiate, right? They do like lot of analysis, spend analysis, and they do like like lot of who my suppliers are. I want to reduce my spend. And then there is a third layer which is category management. So they start like fresh in January in one first year, first month, and then they will say, okay, how can I identify opportunity, right? How can I reduce my overall spend? How can I reduce my supplier base, right? So they start from there. They they identify the opportunity based on spend analysis, and then they do like some research. They do like new supplier. They do financial analysis. So it's complete sourcing project, right? So it's like 40-step project, right? So how you do that? You do verbally, like you just do on paper in SAP MM. You might be doing it, right? I'm not saying no, but now Ariba offers everything into the system. So you can identify the opportunity, you can do spend analysis, identify opportunity, and then like create different tasks, which would you have so many analysis, right, within the procurement process. So you do
Right.
all those analysis, and then you finally do like RFI, that is request for information. You invite like 10 suppliers for RFI. You even don't know who my supplier is. So you can use Ariba Discovery, and then you can find which are your suppliers within your region, and then automatically Ariba will propose these are already registered supplier on your network. You can use to kind of they provide this commodity. So I would float RFI, and then I can filter out my suppliers in the first round, like 10 suppliers, right? And then I can float RFP to like 5 suppliers, and then I can award my like sourcing project to like 2 suppliers, right? That is all like like getting all the suppliers listed, and filtering out suppliers is all done within Ariba. So that is one part. Contract authoring is another part, right? Cataloging and in automatic like electronic invoicing, all that is like Ariba.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and one more thing, see, as you said, okay, these are the functionalities which are available in Ariba. Let's say, for example, if business wants to create some special procurement scenarios, like subcontracting or consignment. So in that case, again, business should create the all these scenarios from ECC point of view, or how this is going to be once customer implemented the Ariba.
Mm-hmm. So it depends, right? So Ariba comes with a lot of products in itself. So if you say upstream, like if you say product, means which product we need to specify, right? So it comes with sourcing, it has contract. So every product is different. It's like module in SAP. So depending on what landscape supplier is in, right? Supplier can buyer can select or customer can select the module which they want to implement. It's not like if you say Ariba, then they will get all the modules by default. It's not that case, right? So it depends on your scenario, on your kind of business processes, what modules we want to take. It's all based on the pain point what supplier, what customer has. Sorry. So that said, let's say, if I have ECC,
Okay.
right? So
Mhm.
there are different variety of customers, right? So who are very new, like okay, they are on Oracle, now they want to move to SAP. Okay, they don't have Ariba, they don't have SAP. Now it's a transformation project which is moving from Oracle to SAP.
Right.
Okay, so definitely in the new world now they won't buy SAP MM. It's all gone now. Now they will go for S4 HANA, enterprise management, right? And they would buy Ariba license and they would buy Ariba network for collaborating, for doing document automation. They would buy sourcing for doing their, depending on their, use case. They will do
Yeah.
contracts, right? And since they
Yeah.
already have S4 HANA enterprise management, they won't require downstream P2P maybe. They may need like some cataloging, but then don't need to create requisition. It depends. Like it's very generic question right now because they want to cover only direct materials within S4 HANA and they want to source all indirect materials into Ariba. That may be the use case. I have seen customers using all three systems right now. They use ECC, MM, they use SRM, they use Ariba, right? They do indirect in SRM, direct in MM, and then Ariba they use for sourcing, contracts, automation, other things, right? So yeah, so during our like sessions, I can go through like some of the customers whom I have worked with, what kind of hybrid scenarios they use. If you talk about bank, right? Bank don't care about SAP. They just want some procurement system. Then they would use Ariba downstream. They would raise requisition in Ariba. They would do good receipt in Ariba. They would do invoicing in Ariba. Everything is Ariba for them. They do sourcing contracts, everything in Ariba. They don't need like SAP backend. They will just use for financial posting. So it all
Okay.
depends on like customer to
So
customer,
you
use case to use
so
case.
so you mean to say whenever we post the GR in the Ariba, we'll be able to see the material document, accounting documents, all documents will be seen in the Ariba itself. No need to go back to ECC and it's not required, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
correct.
At present in SRM, it won't create either material or accounting. Only all will be created in backend only. That is in ECC only, right?
Sorry. Yeah, so what, yeah, so we are like going into details now, Ramakrishna. So I would probably like to, we can discuss more in details, when we actually go into the session. So I
Okay.
believe in favor of time of everyone, we don't want to go and derail into like each specific scenario. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and finally, I have only one question. See,
yeah.
during our discussion, you said that SAP wants to stop the on-premises SAP Ariba. May I know the reason why SAP wants to stop it?
Ariba on premise, right?
Yes, yes.
Right. So there is no use case,
Because
right? So
today SAP S/4HANA it is having both on-premise as well as on-cloud.
right.
So why SAP wants to stop the Ariba on-premise? What is the reason behind that?
Because they
Future
want to
is
promote cloud.
Uh,
yeah, the future is
no. When compared with on-premise and cloud, do you have that much security to keep plenty of data in the cloud? I think as per my understanding, even when you look at the SAP S/4HANA, only SAP is providing only limited functionality. Like by using the user, you will be able to perform by using the PVFs, you will be able to execute only couple of business scenarios, not 100% scenarios. when he comes back to on-premise, then only he will be able to play around all the business scenarios which are available in SAP S4HANA. So in that way, I'm thinking, I may be wrong.
Right. So why SAP would support like multiple products, right? So the future is cloud, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if I have like like 4 products, I don't want to invest in each and every product, right? So I have to stop one, right? So on premise is all gone, right?
mm,
I don't.
mm,
So why I will sell equivalent product of and on premise Ariba? They are both competent product, right?
right.
Similarly, SRM would go away,
Okay, okay,
right? So SRM on premise is gone, Ariba on premise is gone. So left is like on premise, and that is also in future. SAP will definitely sell new customers will definitely go on S4 HANA, right? So S4
right.
HANA on premise, S4 HANA on cloud, and Ariba on cloud. That would be the combination in future,
Okay. Sorry, Ariba on cloud.
right?
Can you please come again? Can you please come again? Ariba on cloud and what else?
Yes. S4 on cloud and S4 on premise.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so if you want customization, then go for on-premise version, right? You can build your own interfaces, you can build your own, not interfaces, but you can build your own logics, right? With on-premise version, right?
Right.
Otherwise, if you want standard version, then go on cloud where customizations are limited. But
Okay.
yeah, future is cloud. If you don't move to cloud, then it's gone, right? So no one is going to pay like, so much licensing fees, a lot of deployment, upgrades, and they will take care of a lot of things. So
Okay.
eventually they're not going to support it.
Yeah. Okay. What about the reporting functionality in the Ariba?
Yeah, we do
Can
have
we?
reporting.
Okay. Okay. That's fine. Okay. Yeah. From my
Yeah.
end, I have done, Ashok. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. No
Yeah.
worries. Okay. Anyone else has questions? Okay. So let me go through the downstream part, right? So downstream, what it offers, I think we talked a lot with Ramakrishna when we discussed his use cases. So like downstream, so downstream we can have like it's complete kind of process, I would say, procurement, requisitioning to receiving. So we can create requisitions. There is no order concept. Like there is a PO, but PO gets automatically created when you create the requisition, when you approve the requisition, right? You cannot create a PO in Ariba, right? So it's always from requisition. And so we have approvals of requisitions. We have like, goods receipt. We can do invoicing and integrate back to SAP invoicing. So all that we can do with requisitioning, right? And then downstream also uses catalogs. So Ariba Procurement Content is one of the separate module where we have the catalogs. So there are two type of catalogs, like static catalog, which we can just upload using the CIF files, and then we have XML catalogs, where we can have like punch out catalogs directly using supplier's website and punch out to supplier. So Ariba supports both those catalogs, and we can see the differences of why, like punch out level 1, level 2, and then what is static catalog. And another piece is contract compliance. So Ariba offers contract compliance piece of it. So whenever you create requisition, you refer the contract, and contract will accumulate the spend of all those requisitions or the POs against the contract, right? So that is also considered as kind of downstream product. Okay, and then we have accounting, budgeting. So we can import all our cost elements, cost center. We can import the budget, WBS from SAP to Ariba, and then Ariba will use to validate the information, right? So all that is covered in downstream. Okay, and then I would like to talk 5 minutes on Ariba network and integration, right? So Ariba network, what we discussed earlier. So Ariba network is kind of like the main advantage of Ariba. So already network is set up for suppliers. Many suppliers are on the network, right? Already they are doing transaction. So now Ariba offers the standard integration with SAP. So that said, we can have like pure invoice automation, right? So we had, I think, probably one of the our team member already has done this integration. So what it does is, so we can have like supplier network account, right? So they have to set up the trading relationship. So once supplier has trading relationship, then we can do the transaction with supplier. So in SAP we can configure the condition, output condition type, and then we can trigger the POs. Whatever we create in SAP, we can output to Ariba network, right? And supplier logs in, and then he can see the new POs, old POs, and like he can confirm the order. He has received the order acknowledgement. We get the updates back into SAP, and then supplier, when he's ready, he can ship the goods using ASN, which creates the inbound delivery. So all those back and forth movement is all handled by network. So that's why we call like pure invoice automation, right? So we have separate license for it, like based on like network solution, right? So we can cover that part. What are the options available when we say pure invoice automation, and we can also cover shortly on the collaborative supply chain, which I have not included here, but we can. So what is collaborative supply chain? That is nothing but like we can now. It's so one thing I would mention, right? So this is very innovative product, right? So a lot of things are going on right now, right? A lot of innovations are going on right now in this product. So I think probably we have some of the folks here who has experienced this, right? So pure inverse automation. So earlier we used to get only like so all this what I'm talking about, right? Integrations are very recent, right? So correct me if I'm wrong. So anyone on the phone, right? So who has done this integration would realize. So before, so just I think so we have cloud integration packages like CI8, CI7, CI6, now it's CI9, and with the each cloud integration package, we get like additional functionalities and features. So all this contract integration, material master integration, so all these are very kind of new functionalities, right? So in our sessions, we will cover, like we can do cloud integration. There are various methods of integration. We can do cloud integration, we can do SAP add-on, and then we can use like ITK, which is not preferable right now. So we can see like like what is the functionalities now offered as part of as of now, I can say, right? So we can have like subcontracting PO, we can have consignment PO, now we can have material line item integration, we can have services is not yet in scope, right? So service integration is not yet supported. That will come by end of this year. So yeah, so I think we will cover a lot of integrations probably in this training sessions, I think, where the folks will be interested, right? And we will go through Ariba administration. So Ariba administration, it covers mainly like, what settings you do from the Ariba side. We have data import export, we have user manager, how you set up the email template. So it's more on the configuration side. Okay, and reporting, yeah, so Ariba offers standard pre-packaged reports, or we can build our own analytical report, compound reports using standard, like available fields, right? And then we will also go through like, whenever we get chance, like how customers are doing, like as we talked about today, like hybrid scenarios, and what different customers, how they manage all this different, if they have ECC, if they don't have ECC, if they have ECC, SRM and Ariba, how they will manage. So we can go through that. And yeah, and as I am certified in all 4 applications, probably I can help you guys how to prepare for certification. If any of you are interested in certification, I can help you to clear that out. So yeah, so I think that's it from the demo side. So anyone has any questions to this?
Ashok, Shan here.
Hey, Sean.
I have one, I'm seeking on clarification here. Here we are talking about upstream and downstream. So
Right.
in downstream, what I understand is that in all the transaction data, we can say now in SAP we say as a master data and transaction data, right? So
Right.
here we understand upstream is a master data related and the downstream is a transaction data related, or how it is?
I won't say no. So I would say upstream is SRM, CLM, and I would say downstream is MM.
Okay. Okay, fine. Right. Thanks.
Yeah, because Ariba does not have master data concept, right?
Yeah.
So it uses all import files. So you take, so Ariba does not create material master.
Yeah.
Ariba does create service master. Ariba does not create PIR. No, it's all SAP functionality. But now since SAP bought it, they have to integrate two solutions, right? So
Mhm.
whatever master data we are talking about, material master, vendor master, like pricing, is catalogs, right? But unit of measures, material groups, what else? We have supplier, we have commodity codes, we have materials, we have unit of measures, we have users, so all those data will be coming from SAP.
Mhm.
So I can show you like how we, some of them are interfaces and some of them are import export files. So
Okay.
probably we can, yeah, so we can go through that, like how we migrate those data or how we use that. So yeah, so overall it kind of like big scope, right? So if we cover everything, it's like in details, it's kind of like big scope of Ariba. So this
Mhm.
40 hours would help you understand what each module does, right? And then what is like functionality, like how do you do this, how do you do that, where we do this, where we do that, right? But then if you want to like, let's say SIPM, right? So SIPM itself is a big course, right?
Mhm.
So where we do supplier registration. So we have a lot of templates. We have supplier request template, registration or SPQ, and then we do the integration. So that is kind of big product in itself, right? Similar to all
Okay.
other products.
Mhm.
So yeah, so then once we go through this first course and we can see, then you can read by yourself and then you can visualize like how system looks like, how what is template, and then it will be easy for you to navigate and to learn by yourself.
Okay.
Okay, any questions from the PI consultant or ABAP consultant or SRM
Hey
or any?
Ashok, yeah, this is
Hey,
Anil here. uh,
sorry, who is this?
this is Anil,
Anil.
ANIL. Yeah.
Hey, Anil.
So I basically had one question regarding certification. So we've got
Right.
about, correct me if I'm wrong, we've got about four modules in, not modules, four areas in Ariba. One probably is the
Yeah.
procure to pay, one is the contract related to contract management, and one is spend analysis, and I don't know what else.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, to be
yeah,
precise, we have sourcing, contracts, we have integration, and then we have P2P. Four.
you got contract, we've got P2P, and we've got integration. And then what
And
else you had?
sourcing.
Sourcing. Okay. So you don't
Yeah.
include spend analysis, spend.
So
There's something called spend. So
right,
that's a part of the Ariba module. So where does
right.
that fit in the scheme of things?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
No, we've got no. My question is, we've got all the four areas. Now you made it clear. Now I just wanted to know where does spend analysis fit
Okay.
in which
Yeah.
area?
Right. So spend analysis is, it's kind of like upstream, I would say. So
Oh.
spend analysis is kind of different product by itself, right? So where we do all those reporting,
Correct.
spend. So it is it is like it is kind of BW of SAP, right? So if
All
you are
right.
familiar with SAP, so sorry I missed your background, Anil. You are SAP
I MM. I've been
MM,
into
right?
10 years into MM, and I know a few facets about SRM as well. So yeah,
Okay,
not,
okay, that's good.
not other things. Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So definitely you might be knowing BW, right? So what BW, for what we do, we extract everything out of SAP. We send to
Yeah.
BobJ or BW, and then we do all reporting queries
Correct.
within BW itself, right? So
Right.
similarly, spend analytics, right? So
Okay.
we also call spend visibility. So
All right.
I will tell you the use case, like what one of the customer did, like we send everything from Ariba, right? From spend visibility, we had an interface to, sorry, the reverse way, from BobJ or from BW, we had the interface which sends all my PO, invoice, supplier, service entry data, everything back to Ariba, Spendbase. Okay, so we
All right.
basically have export import task which will get all the data into Ariba, and then based on that we can do reporting out of it. So,
Okay.
but like I would, yeah, I can take that session, like I can include like 2 hours of spend visibility, but to me that I don't see the value of, many customers use that because they want everything into BW BobJ or Oracle
Okay.
BI. So Ariba is only sourcing, right? So they don't want everything into Ariba, do all this, and it does not have any end-to-end functionality. Like if I can run my spend analysis, which gives me like so there was a use case where I saw somewhere in the roadmap, but I never saw like when it got implemented. So the use case was you do spend, so it's a category manager. It's not meant for like daily reporting. It's meant for like monthly reporting, where you run all your monthly reports, you see your spend data, and then you identify what opportunity you have in sourcing, right? And it starts from that. That is the first step. You do reporting analysis, and then you identify opportunity that will turn into your sourcing project. Then you start sourcing, and then you start in the sourcing process. You may end up in doing supplier qualification, supplier onboarding, supplier qualification, supplier registration, supplier qualification, supplier segmentation, and then once you onboard the supplier, then you do contract with supplier, and then you push the contract back to downstream, which would be used in your procure to pay transaction, right? And then you do invoicing from Ariba Network or Invoicing Professional, where you get the invoice data into CXML, and then kind of, so there is all kind of like end-to-end Ariba. So
Per-
yeah, so Ariba Spendbase is meant for that.
Perfect. And what about the certification? I mean, for example, in SAP, we've got only one certification for SRM and one for MM. I don't think going forward it will be there. So as far as Ariba is concerned, we've got all the 4 areas. So for every area, we need to get certified, or for example, procure to pay. So will there be
Right.
a, okay, so is that the way it is?
Right. So yeah. So if you see the cloud applications, right? So I don't tell it's Ariba, but if you see any, like for example, if you go to traininghub.sap.com, and if you say search for uh, success
Correct.
factors, right?
Correct.
So I think
Yeah.
success factor has 20 certifications, right?
Right.
So similarly, Ariba also is kind of multiple certifications. So right now they have 4, but we will also see certification for SIPM in future. That is the missing part. We have Ariba
Okay.
network, that is the missing part, right?
Okay.
So all the certification, if you might have done some research, right? So all the certifications were just started last year, and every quarter they release one certification. So I think they started last March, where first it was P2P, then they came up with sourcing or integration or sourcing, then integration, and then recently, like this January, they came up with contracts. So
Okay.
it's all very new. So if you search like certified SAP consultants, you will find like very few people who are certified in Ariba.
All right. So every upgrade, as in it's the upgrade, the time frame is every 3 months on the cloud. So on every upgrade, there might be a few things added into whatever the Ariba or the improvements. So
Yeah. So that is, so it's, I won't say it's like one every quarter, but it's kind of like depends on the product. So right now I'm implementing one product with customer. It is very new product, right? So they do like weekly release because it's a new product. A lot of issues are there, so
okay,
they fix it like every week, and then we take it from there. So yeah, and I don't think they have come up with kind of Delta certification as of now. Right now it's only like 4, and all those 4 are on the old course.
okay, all
So
right.
you if you have access to SAP learning, I don't know whom you work for, but they offer like learning hubs,
Correct. I mean,
learning.
I'm on the learning hub. I mean, I'm doing basically on the discovery edition. So I've watched a lot of videos, so I can,
Oh, you work for Ariba?
uh, no, I am on the learning hub, so I
Oh,
have got
learning hub.
access. Yeah, yeah. I go
Right.
through a lot of videos. Yeah. On the discovery
Right.
edition, pretty much everything over there is free.
Right,
So
right,
yeah,
right. So it's all, so if you go through any like course material, then
correct.
it would be from, if you see that book, it's all 2013, 13S1. So,
Perfect.
and now if you see Ariba, it's totally changed. The front end, you don't see the concepts of guided buying, supplier
Correct.
management, APIs. So all those are very new, like just recently released like in last 3-4 months.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And one final question, you were talking about the purchase order. So can one not create an ad hoc purchase order in Ariba? You always need a purchase requisition to start
Right.
off?
So yeah, so the concept is like, you create requisition. Requisition can be like catalog based requisition. Requisition can be external requisition from ECC or SRM, or requisitions can be ad hoc requisition. So you create requisition and then you create, PO is automatically created once the requisition is approved and sent to Ariba network. So in Ariba, we cannot create the PO. We can manage the
Okay.
PO, right?
All
We can
right.
manage the PO. So if you want to change PO, you cannot change PO. Like you have to change requisition, get it approved, and once approved, PO automatically will be changed. But on the management of the PO includes, like sending kind of reminders, follow-ups, or doing confirmation. You can do auto acknowledgement for that PO. You can do invoicing against the PO. So yeah, that is the use case. Yeah, they don't
Okay.
support like creation of PO. It's all requisition, one document.
All right. Great. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. Any other question? I want to hear something from like PI person or SRM or ABAP. You know, I understand like MM very well, so I know like what they would need during the training. But I am not like SRM expert, or I am not PI expert, or I am not technical. So probably if I get some feedback from those guys as well, then probably we can frame accordingly if you guys are interested further in the training. No. Okay. Okay, guys. So this was all about demo, and probably I can continue giving like some few things on like Ariba. Okay. So if you guys are interested, you can stay on, or if you're not interested in this training, then probably you can drop off. But we can continue with the Ariba introduction. So I believe you guys can see my screen. Okay. So let's start about Ariba, right? So I got the questions like, what is, like, why Ariba? So by 2020, right, the target for SAP is to get everyone on Ariba network, right? Everyone, and they will open up. So right now it's like you might have heard about APIs, right? Programming interface where everyone can connect
Ashok,
to.
Ashok, sorry to interrupt. This is Deva, PI consulting.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was having questions, but I'm not able to unmute myself. So,
Oh, okay. Sure.
So,
Go ahead.
when it comes to Ariba integration, when it comes to integration part, we do upgrades then and now. Whenever
Right.
we have an Ariba upgrade from CI 7 to 9, something to 9
Right.
latest version. So, in this course, are you, do you give overview on how we do upgrade, with respect to PI or something like this? I mean, is there
Yeah.
anything,
Yeah. Yeah. So that topic I always kind of, challenging because when we talk about upgrade, right? So it's all so even in a form. Sorry, yeah. So on this upgrades, right? So I have customers who I have seen they are on CI 3 version and right now they want to move to CI 9, right?
yeah.
So some customers are on CI 7, they want to move to CI 9 and so on, right? So I don't think like we have to do anything like except you have to do thorough testing. So whenever SAP does the upgrades, right, it don't take up any functionality. It always add on the functionality. Right? So you have to always kind of like test those functionalities from functional standpoint. And anyway, you have access to Connect, and then you can download all your TPC files, and you can install them on the PI, right? So I don't think like there is nothing to cover for me, but just to I can put on like one session on like upgrades. You know what you have to take care of during the upgrades or what function. So yeah. So one point, if you have SAP add-on and you want to move to SAP, CI, that is a little bit complicated, right? Because I've seen one customer who was on SAP VIM, vendor invoice management, where CI was not supporting that. So then they have to go via SAP add-on and then use like one interface of invoice, not with CI, but using SAP add-on. So that they converted from IDOC, like CXML to IDOC, and then they posted the IDOC. That was the challenge. But yeah, apart from that, I think I don't see any major issues in upgrading.
Yeah, scenario-wise, I'm more clear about what are the conflicts we get for scenario-wise like POs or invoice scenarios. I mean, we for every release we get the document. So in the document they will mention what are the changes for each scenario-wise they did or any CXML tags they have added. So these kind of things we get as an PI consultant. We can understand by referring by going through the document. But on the back
Right.
end, what are the actual things that are needed for each upgrade? Is there any different things that been added for every upgrade? So these kind of things I want to know. So if
Uh,
you
yeah, so
have
it's
any idea
all
about it, that will be helpful.
yeah, it's all on the back end. But I can tell you like what is the future, right? So I can tell you like they are not going to do CI anymore. CI 9 is the last CI, and then
Oh,
everything
okay,
will be like
fine.
service pack of that CI. So that kind of thing I can cover. So in future, everything is like service pack. So recently they will release service pack 1, and now everything is moving to cloud integration gateway. So like PI would be offered as integration as a service, like HEC. You might have heard of HEC, right? It's so like is moving on cloud. Like Ariba is on cloud. Similarly, integration would be on cloud. So PI in future will be kind of cloud application, and they will offer integration as a service. So via integration gateway. So we have cloud integration gateway, which directly we can connect. Like it's kind of like wizard where we just start, like as a functional consultant, I can do that, right? As simple as that. So it won't be like, PI mapping. It will come as a standard package, right? So that is going to be like 2020 or beyond. But yeah, so right now it's all so they are moving towards SAP add-on. So eventually CI would go away, right? And they would invest more on SAP add-on so that they can do everything with SAP Notes. So if you have any problem, any issue with ASN, so let's say your ASN, right? ASN does not support like packaging dimensions. It's very basic ASN, which we get from Ariba, creates inbound delivery into SAP, right? So if they want to fix it, then they will come up with SAP Notes. You just install SAP Notes, and that will fix your problem instead of doing like CI upgrades and all those things.
Okay. Yeah.
CI
Yeah,
as in cloud integration.
Yeah, go ahead.
You said something about CI, so I'm basically not a PI guy. So
Who is this?
CI meaning cloud. This is well.
Sorry.
CI meaning cloud integration.
Yeah, CI, it means for cloud integration, and so every time like they release the cloud
is it?
CI version.
All right. All right, great.
And Ashok, one more thing. So when it comes to Ariba functional and technical, what makes a difference with respect to, when it comes to Ariba functional and technical, so what exactly, can you give me an idea about that?
Who is this?
Deva.
Okay. Yeah, so functional technical, right? So it's kind of confusing when you come with SAP background, right? So as we know, like in Ariba, we don't do coding, right? So as a functional or as a technical, we don't do the coding. Ariba basically is all Java based, right? So we cannot do like codes into Ariba because it's a cloud solution. So only Ariba does that coding, right? So now then what is, we understand functional, but then what is technical? So technical is more about like PI resources, right? So when we want to set up integration scenarios, we need help of PI because they are the resources who will do like complete setup of the PI system, right? And functional people, what they will do, they will do the field mapping, right? For example, vendor integration. So for vendor integration, I have, I have to map the fields as a part of, so we get web service. So what PI will do, PI person will go to ESR and then they will enable the standard web service, or if they want to add any custom field, they would add as a part of web service, right? And then functional side would map all those fields from Ariba to SAP. And that is why we need like cross-trained resources, right? So today in the market, we don't have cross-trained resources. PI would know the PI thing, like functional would know thing. They won't know Ariba, and Ariba guys, they don't know right? So that's why we need this mix where we can all like we can know kind of like at least like high level we can know what is vendor master, right? What is XK03 and what are the fields within XK03. And then when it comes from Ariba, what to map with those fields. So how to do the mapping between Ariba and SAP, right? It is done in the PI. So as a functional guy, I have to know what is the web service, how to get the web service fields, so all that would come as a functional and technical.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah, it's more on setting up the integration scenarios, but it's again like like mixed term used for technical. So right now I am the functional lead and technical lead in my project. So but I don't do PI. So I have people from other team, who is helping me on the PI side, right? Because I am not a PI expert, right? So that is still I am technical because I do like field mappings and I propose a complete end-to-end solution. So that's all the difference.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, so I'll keep this like very high level, right? So yeah, so 2020 aspiration is like 5 million companies on Ariba network, right? A lot of business volume, APIs, like everyone should be on cloud. So if you don't go on cloud, then we are nowhere. Google is coming with big cloud. Amazon offers cloud. SAP offers its own. Ariba as a cloud. Success factors, is a cloud application. Field Glass is another cloud application used for like contractors. So like Salesforce, right? Salesforce is another application. A lot of applications nowadays are moving on to, and everyone wants Amazon like shopping experience. So that is what Ariba is going towards, right? So so what is the future, right? So a lot of things going on right now. So we have like supplier and networks. That is where we have Ariba, right? We have Concur. Now Concur is part of SAP. Ariba is part of SAP. Field Glass is part of SAP, right? So all that is supplier and networks. And then we have like digital core is S4 HANA. That is like you consider SAP MM or SRM or it's an S4 new S4, right? That is the core. And then all other applications will be on top of S4 HANA, right? So workforce management is Field Glass, supplier network is Ariba, customer experience is like Hybris, and then there are a lot of things going on in the IoT space, right? Smart devices and like SAP is launching the new products on this as well. So let's focus on the right side of this. So where we have like suppliers and buyers, right? Suppliers and buyers interact through Ariba network, right? And these are all. So I would like to say here like Ariba also does a lot of things for suppliers because they have to enable all those suppliers, right? So they have to be on Ariba network so that buyers can use those suppliers, and supplier will be charged fees, right? So supplier will be transacting like per PO they have to pay some fees, per invoice they have to pay some fees, or there will be like subscription fees which they have to pay yearly, but that is definitely less than like SAP license, right? So Ariba does a lot of things from the sell side as well. So they help them like enabling. They support a lot of EDIs now. They support like if you know oil and gas, right? So oil and gas is like PIDEX formats. So now Ariba supports PIDEX format. So basically they help suppliers in doing this integration so that supplier can interact with Ariba network, eventually can interact with buyers. And on the buy side, we offer, so these are the main portfolio, what we call Ariba portfolio. So they offer supplier management. Okay. So with supplier management, we can do like supplier registration, supplier onboarding, registration, supplier qualification, supplier segmentation, all supplier related things, supplier integration, everything comes within supplier management. They call SM. Then we have strategic sourcing, where we do like sourcing and contract, right? We have supply chain. Supply chain is kind of where we do like procurement, like it's not so where we do like kind of the events, sourcing events like RFP, RFX, and all is part of like supply chain. That includes like subcontracting, consignment POs. That is part of the supply chain. Then we have procurement where we do the actual requisition, good receipt, invoice within Ariba network, right? And then we have financial supply chain. So this is something like recently. So this is more on like Ariba Pay. So Ariba also has one module called Ariba Pay. So which we can directly do the payments out of Ariba, right? And so what from the buy side, so earlier Ariba was mainly supporting indirect procurement, right? Similar to SRM. What SRM was earlier, it was like indirect procurement, and then they came up with direct procurement. You can like procure materials and everything. Similarly, now Ariba is doing a lot of investment into direct space. So we will have a lot of new functionalities on the direct material procurement as well. So we support like indirect MRO items, support direct, and for labors, so like I want to hire a consultant, right? So in that case, SAP offers field glass application, which integrates with SAP Ariba, right? So if any of you are reading certification for integration, they have a separate use case where we use like fill glass, and it explains how fill glass is integrated with Ariba, right? So if any one of you are interested, we can have one session on that integration as well. So in the kind of like integration certification, we have at least like 3 or 4 questions on how fill glass integrates with SAP or Ariba. Okay, and then we have Concur. So Concur, many customers uses Concur, which is now acquired by SAP, and Concur is mainly used for travel expense booking. So it tracks all your travel expenses and all. So now, so that said, so all these are part of SAP now. Concur, Fieldglass, Ariba, right? So that covers the complete portfolio of networks, business networks. Okay. So let's talk about how Ariba evolved, right? So earlier, like first version of it was kind of e-procurement, right? They started with like in 2000, it was just e-procurement. We can kind of do like quotation supplier, and supplier will put on like what inquiry to supplier, supplier will fill in the quotation, and then we get the quotation. And eventually you see like 2004, 8 was kind of like more on premise versions, and then 10. So 2010, I want everyone to read this. Ariba acquires Quadram, right? So this Quadram, right? Quadram system. So Quadram was Ariba network. Quadram was the B2B network in past. And Ariba acquired that network from Quadram. So now whatever we see Ariba network was earlier a Quadram application. So still, if we see like few customers still have the Quadram application, which eventually Ariba is migrating back to Quadram, right? And 2012, where we SAP acquired Ariba, and then from then onward, so this was the earlier Ariba logo, and now it got changed to SAP Ariba. This is the new logo of Ariba, right? So what this says in 2013, now Ariba is expanding to the new geographies, right? And also it is leveraging like all SAP applications. They're making lot of investments in integrating both the solutions, Ariba and SAP, right? So SAP is selling Ariba, SAP is selling SAP's own product, right? So, but what customer is facing challenges now, there is no integration. So integration is there, but it's not like tightly integrated as SRM, for example. SRM is all, iDocs, and everything flows very good between two systems. You just execute transaction, which would move your suppliers, your materials into SRM, and then you can stop for that materials. But Ariba is not yet there. So still, I think still next like 3 years, this would be very hot in the market because it is still evolving product, right? So as we speak, like we have a lot of new things coming on with this product, right? So a lot of new functionalities, new features, so everyone wants Ariba to be like SAP, right? So I want to see where is my banking information for vendor master in Ariba. I want to see where is my service line item hierarchy in Ariba. So all that functionality is not there yet. Okay, but SAP is investing a lot of money into this product to have tight integration between the two systems, right? So that is what Ariba is. So these are all kind of revenues. So if you see the revenue is like growing. So if you have seen SAP results this year, so they have the revenue cloud growth of around like for more than 40%, right? That is huge, right? So cloud is growing now. Everyone is simply going on cloud, right? And I think I heard one of the question on security, right? Security is not a major thing right now because now everyone is on cloud, and SAP, since now it's SAP company, they are focusing more on security standards, so they should be like, unless like customer has very stringent policy on security, we don't share any document, we don't share any information on the cloud. It's a different case. But otherwise, like most of, I've seen like so many customers are now moving on the cloud application. Okay, so business model. So how the fees are charged, right? So I have one slide just to explain on how how we get this fees from supplier. So we have Ariba subscription software fee, then we have network fees where we transact with PO and invoices, and then we have, if we get consulting services from SAP, then they charge for the consultants. So they get basically like, and then ERP infrastructure. So that's how SAP will charge to customers, right? So this is just like high level. It is more. This is important solutions, right? So we have like I think I have one more deck to present, but this is kind of like main portfolio. These are not the solutions or not the products, but these are the portfolio what Ariba is handling now. So earlier it was kind of like upstream, downstream, but now they are broken into like start from supplier management, right? You do supplier performance management, supplier registration onboarding, and then you have sourcing, supply chain, procurement, and then financial supply chain, which deals more on invoicing side or treasury side. And this is how we, it's like we got from the question, right? Why Ariba? Why not SRM? Or why not different application? Why cloud and why Ariba? Because right now, 2 million companies are already on Ariba. Ariba supports 21 languages and 220 plus currencies, right? And $1 trillion amount is transacted into Ariba network. So you imagine like, why everyone is moving on the cloud. So what is the advantage? Because you have 2 million suppliers already on Ariba network, or 2 million companies, I would say, buyer and supplier both. So that much volume of transactions are happening in Ariba network. Yeah, so this is kind of like, yeah, I will cover this in a later slide where I have like, very good details on each portfolio, like what each portfolio does. So, right, so this is what we talked about today, right? Typical scenarios. So this is interesting because now, so as we said, right, why SRM or why MM? So how we are going to use it? Why customer will use Ariba if they already have SAP MM, right? So we had all those questions. So as I mentioned, like it all depends on customer wishes, right? What customer wants to do. So we can have like on-premise procurement, right? So we do everything in SAP MM, SRM, or S4 HANA, right? And then we only use Ariba network for collaboration. That is one option, right? So whenever we create PR in S4 HANA, and then we do RFQ in S4, and then we create the PO, and then once PO is created, we send the PO to Ariba network. So we do like document collaboration. That is the leftmost part of it. Okay. I will go to the rightmost part where it's a full cloud procurement, right? So everything we can do in the cloud if if you know SRM, it's kind of extended scenario, right? Like, sorry, extended classic and then extended scenario. Yeah, so this is more kind of like, everything happens into Ariba. So you do procurement, sourcing, spend analytics, contracts, supplier management, supplier risk, everything in Ariba, and then you transact from Ariba to Ariba network, right? You collaborate with supplier, and then in the backend you may or you may not move all your transactions back to SAP just for storing purpose. That is one extreme scenario. And then in the middle, we have the combination, which I think most of the customers are using it. So they use SAP, they use MM or SRM or S4 HANA, and they use like upstream side of Ariba where they do sourcing, contracts, supply management, and invoice automation. And they do procurement and everything in the SAP version. So I think so my if you ask like what is I cannot focus on all Ariba modules, right? It's big, it's huge. If you do certification, it's like so many like books you have to study, right? So if you ask me like what is Ashok, what is your career plan? So what I would recommend to you guys is like focus if you are SAP MM, SRM, you still focus maybe on S4 side, and then you cover upstream of Ariba where you have like sourcing, contracts, application, and then you focus on the Ariba network side of it, right? So that would kind of give you both like where every customer is going on, right? Using kind of procurement in SAP and then doing like sourcing contracts, supply management into Ariba, and then using that network to collaborate with suppliers. So yeah. So any questions? This slide is very important. So do you guys understand this slide, or do you have any further questions on this slide? Let me see if I have muted everyone. Yeah, so any questions on this one, guys?
Ashok,
Yeah.
Shan here. Here,
Yeah.
on-premise solutions and the Ariba cloud solutions. So here,
Right.
in this, I would like to know the architecture of Ariba. So what will be the architecture for this?
What do you mean by architecture?
Architecture in the sense like how we are using in SAP. There we are having certain certain organizational units or something like that. Nothing we are going to configure in Ariba in this. Everything will be from SAP side, right?
Right. So on which scenario you're talking about? Sorry.
In
This
MM,
is
like for example, in MM module, if you take, or in WM module, if you take, we are having warehouse. We are having the warehouse and storage types, storage locations in MM and plants. So these all things are we know it as a organizational units in SAP. So in Ariba, so the same setup will be used in Ariba as well, right? Or we are going
right.
to do any separate or different organizational units we are going to have it in Ariba.
Right. So yeah. So we don't create organization elements in Ariba, right? So we don't create company code, purchase or plan, purchasing groups. Whatever information we have, we will export from SAP, and
Uh-huh.
then we would put into Ariba, and then we use those organization elements for our transaction. So
Okay.
whenever we
So
create contract, we use purchasing organization, company code, which is coming from SAP ECC.
Uh,
So, yeah, Ashok, yeah, let me ask you one question. So, without using the, I mean, core we cannot do anything in SAP Ariba. This is the base. ECC is the base, right?
We can do it if we stand alone.
Let's say,
We
for
can still,
example, customer whoever not implemented SAP so far, and he wants to straight away implement it to SAP Ariba. Will he be able to implement straight away SAP Ariba without
yes,
implementing the SAP MM?
yes, he will be able to, because in that case, yeah. So your next question would be how they will get the organization, right? So in
Yes.
that case, we have the provision. We can directly import using CSV files. We can import those organization elements. Like we can import client data. We can import purchasing organization, company code. Everything we can import manually. So, and those data is not frequently changing, right? So they just import it and then use it for their transactional data.
So if it is
Because
completely,
you see,
if client
yeah,
wants
so
to go completely fresh implementation of only SAP Ariba without implementing
right,
any EC. Okay.
right,
Let's say
right. So
let's say for example, client already using the ECC and core modules like MM, PP, SD, FICO, whatever. So and he wants to on top of it he wants to implement the SAP Ariba. So in that case, so whatever organization structure which will be configured at ECC, so same will be replicated into Ariba, and we are not going to configure high level organization structure at the Ariba side, right?
that is correct.
Okay. And what about the transaction data? Whatever transaction which will be performed for day-to-day activities in Ariba, same data will be replicated into ECC. And is there any difference? I mean, only for certain cases data will be moved to from Ariba to ECC, or no, whatever transaction which will be performed by the business in Ariba, in all the cases data will be moved from Ariba to ECC. How this is going to be?
So yeah, so again, so it depends on like which product of Ariba we are using it, right? So if we are let's say we are creating contracts in Ariba, and then we want to replicate the contracts into ECC, so then we can select like which contract we want to replicate back to ECC. Right, so it's kind of like manual step. You send the contract to external system, and then we select like what ERP we want to send the contract, and in that case we will send the contract. The outbound message will trigger to PI, which goes to Ariba network first and then to PI, and then PI would send that XML data to ECC, which would create the outline agreement in SAP and then send the confirmation back via PI to Ariba network back to Ariba. So it depends, right? So I can select like what data I want to pass it on to SAP.
Yeah, yeah. One more question. See, when customer able to perform the transactions in Ariba itself, then again, what is the use of sending the data from SAP Ariba to ECC? What is the
Right.
use?
So yeah. So right. So both are not the same system, right? So you
Yeah, that
have
is
to get
true.
right. So you don't have as this is Ramakrishna, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So we discussed, right? We don't have a lot of functionalities into SAP MM, which we are doing into SAP Ariba,
Right.
right? So that said, you don't have similar data in both the systems, right?
No, see, my question was, see, what is the use? See, Ariba itself is having the certain amount of functionality where business will be able to create certain kind of business scenarios. You are saying that if business
Yeah.
wants
Let's
to move that, what is the use of moving data to ECC? That's what I'm my question. See, what is the
okay.
use? Why one should move that data from again from SAP Ariba to ECC? For what purpose? Whether this will be used for any analytical purpose, or why? What is the use? What is the logic behind that? Why one should move the data?
Right. So let me give you an example, right? So
Oh, yeah.
let's say contract authoring. So do you have functionality of contract authoring into SAP MM?
No, no.
No, right? So you
Yeah.
will never create a contract into SAP MM, right?
Okay. Right.
So you go to Ariba, create your
Mm-hmm.
contract,
Mm-hmm.
import your line items material master from SAP,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you create a contract into Ariba, correct? So
Right.
once you create a contract into Ariba, you have to send your contract to your ECC system so that your acquisition can use that contract and source against that contract. Isn't that right?
Okay. You mean to say sourcing will be done at ECC side
Not
once?
sourcing.
Uh,
So you have to understand the difference between sourcing, procurement, and category management, right? So Ariba, so procurement sourcing is never done into SAP,
okay.
right? So sourcing, category management is all in Ariba, and then all transactional level procurement, like day-to-day transactions, creating a PR, creating a PO, that happens on ECC. So if that is the
Right.
scenario, I would transfer my contract which I have negotiated with supplier into Ariba, and then I would transfer that contract from Ariba to SAP, and then SAP, my like transactional system, SAP can use that contracts when creating the requisitions, right? So let's say I run, so we have to draw the line, right? So MRP, I don't think MRP functionality would ever going to happen into Ariba, right? So MRP would stay in SAP or S4 or whatever, on-premise version. So
Right.
because it is integrated with so many different modules,
Right. Right.
right? So
Right.
Ariba SAP is not going to build Ariba as different SAP. That should be very clear in everyone of our mind, right? So we are
Right.
not going to build Ariba as a new SAP. We are using the features of Ariba, and then we are using SAP as well. So if I create MRP, right? So MRP would I want MRP to create the PR and automatically assign the source of supply. If I have a contract within my SAP system, I can run MRP and link the contract to my MRP and then create the PO, automatic PO with reference to the PR and contract, so that I don't want to go to Ariba and then I want to directly create the PO from ECC system itself, right?
Yeah, yeah, and more, yeah, and one more thing, yeah, as you said, see, when MRP generated the procurement proposals, like nothing but either planned order or purchase equation. Let's say, for example, if I want to convert from PR to purchase order, will I be able to move the data to Ariba, and will I be able to create the purchase order from Ariba itself?
Sorry, can you repeat that again? I didn't get that.
Yeah,
So you
as you said, see, it's, when MRP executed system generate the procurement purposes, like either purchase equation or planned order, right? So, what I want to do, just instead of creating the purchase order in ECC against the MRP generated purchase equation, what I want to do, just I want to move those purchase equation to the SAP Ariba, and from Ariba, just I want to create the purchase order against the purchase equation. So, will it possible?
Yeah, so in Ariba, we cannot create a PO, right? So what we can do but is we can, like if you know SRM, right? So SRM has similar use case, like sending, I can send all my ERP requisitions, PRs, into SRM as external requirements,
Right,
right?
exactly,
So
exactly, right.
that would come as a shopping cart, and then I can go for approval of shopping cart,
Yes,
right, which
yes,
creates the PO. So
right,
similarly, we can export all our requisitions from SAP MM as external requirements and move to Ariba,
uh-huh,
and then depends, like you want to approve those acquisitions or not, and based on that you create the, so again depends, right? So if you have like source of supply already assigned to the requisition, why you want to move to Ariba? What big thing you are doing into Ariba, right? Why not you directly send your requisition from ECC if you have source of supply assigned to that requisition directly to Ariba network, right? You don't need to send that to Ariba P2P. So it all depends, right? What products customer has. So so you are assuming like customer would have all Ariba modules, all 10 modules of Ariba, right? But that is not the case. So if I have ECC, I probably I won't prefer to have SAP Ariba, or I may be, right? So it depends on like case to case basis. So if I have Ariba and if I'm doing direct procurement into SAP and then indirect procurement into Ariba, then probably I would, if I have sort of supply assigned to my PR, material PR, then I would not flush that PR to Ariba. I would directly create the PO within SAP itself because I have my source of supply assigned to that PR. If I don't have source of supply, then I would come to Ariba and then I would do sourcing, contracts, create a contract in Ariba, get it to the backend ECC, use like we don't have sourcing cockpit, but then we can assign the source of supply using ME57 and then link the supplier back. You know, like you see what I'm saying? So those are like
Yes, yes,
different use cases.
yeah, I got your logic. Yes, yes, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
So
sounds
it
good.
all right. So it all depends, right? Case to case
Mhm.
basis, how you design, what solution customer has, and so
Mhm.
Ariba, yeah. So but what I would like to, I forgot like Shan's point. You know, like he had one question on WM, right? So we have to be very clear. Like Ariba does not manage any inventory data, right? So Ariba is not meant for MRP. Ariba is not meant for WM, right? Ariba is mainly like your procurement system. But
So,
eventually,
yeah, Ashok,
right?
yeah,
Let
if that
me
is the
let me
case,
finish.
yeah,
Let me finish this, okay? I will forget this facts, okay?
yeah, yeah.
So that said, right? So we get all inputs, right? So it's all in the roadmap, right? SAP's roadmap, like they want to have complete like end-to-end solutions, right? So in future we may have mechanism where we see our stocks into Ariba, right? We can see our stock into Ariba. We can send our forecast data from SAP into Ariba, and then we can do like forecasting, demand planning. So all that is coming up, but it's not available right now. Yeah, go ahead. Your question.
Yeah, if that is the case, yeah, you said that it doesn't support the inventory. Then if that is the case, we cannot do any, we cannot see any analytical reports in Ariba, right? Which is related to inventory. Like in ECC currently, we are able to see there is a transaction called MD52, stock for warehouse. So we'll be able to, when you execute that report, we'll be able to see the stock in the quality, unmixed, black stock, and value of the stock. And when you look at a couple of reports like ME2M, ME2L, ME2N, there are a couple of reports, the material documents per vendor, like that, so many reports are there. So, as per this thing which I am understanding is, we cannot see inventory related reports in the Ariba. I mean, it doesn't support, for analytical purpose. That's what you are saying, right?
That is correct. So that is why I think Anil asked a good question like spend visibility, right? So
Yes,
that is
yes.
why that is the purpose. Like spend visibility is only focused on like procurement data, spend. What is my
Yes.
invoice? What is my PO spend? But it does not include what is my inventory for this material, right? So for that you have to go to a transactional system, which is your SAP ECC or S4 HANA.
See,
Ariba is not.
Okay.
Yeah, so everything here is like cost center based, right? Like you, even if you have like P2P, then you cannot see your stocks. You have like PR, you create PO, and then you directly charge to like cost center, WBS, or so on. You don't have like material kind of procurement, or you don't use like materials. So earlier, before, like if we have done this before 1 year, even there was no provision to get material into Ariba. There was no concept of material in Ariba, right? It is all recently within last 4 5 months they have come with this approach to send your material master from SAP ECC to Ariba, and that's how we use material master in contracts, in sourcing, and then we can get pricing against the particular material, right?
Okay. Okay.
That clear?
Okay. Yeah. So as per my understanding, what I came to know that, see, when customer wants to go fresh implementation by using the SAP Ariba, there is no use of going further, right? Because he must, before he go for implementation of the SAP Ariba, first he must implement ECC. Then only he will get the benefit. Otherwise, there is no use of going for fresh implementation of Ariba, right? Am I right?
Again, you are not
Because
right
it
exactly.
doesn't support the reporting related information. I mean, analytical it doesn't support. Then what is the purpose of using implementing Ariba? Customer, when he wants to implement SAP Ariba without implementing EC, he will think about, right, what are the benefits which I am going to get when compared with ECC and SAP Ariba. He will think he will think about about both of the cases, and as per that he will take the action accordingly, right?
I don't totally agree with you because
Mm.
because all customers are not interested in inventory, right? Suppose I am a hotel management customer. I don't care about inventory at all. Everything is like charged to my cost center. Everything is indirect procurement. Banks. Why do I need to talk about my inventory? I don't care about it, right? So I don't want it. Other scenario is, as I said earlier, I'm repeating it, okay? So
Mm-hmm.
Anil asked, right, what is Spendways? And then I
Mm-hmm.
explained, like Spendways, we can, what customers do, customer will send Ariba data to BW, and then BW will take care of all your reporting,
Right.
right? So it basically depends on customer, the scenarios, it's not like, so customers, so Ariba, if you see earlier slide, Ariba was there since 2000, right? So do you see like all customers who has SAP only has Ariba? No, right? So Ariba was being sold before to many customers. If they have Oracle, if they have SAP, if they don't have any ERP system, it was standalone Ariba. So it can still be used as a standalone system.
Okay.
You might have heard about SRM extended scenario, right? It is as simple as that.
Yes.
I
Yes.
can
Yeah.
can use SRM extended without anything, right? I just use SRM extended.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, don't compare, like, don't keep your mindset with SAP MM and you want to see everything of SAP MM into Ariba. That won't work, right? So Ariba is like, you always consider Ariba as extension to SAP MM.
Okay. 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 That's
Anil
fine,
have any
actually.
question? Anil, do you have any question? I saw like hand raised by Anil. Okay, so anyone has any questions? So I would like to stop here, and then probably tomorrow we can continue, with some, like, I'll discuss on the portfolios and the new naming conventions and how each product, like what is the main what is the exact description of the product, what was before, what is now, and then we can go from there into more details.
Ashok, if you have any documents, can you share it on Ariba thing so that we
Yeah, I
can go through that?
right. I can share. I'll discuss with Subbu, and then I would start sharing the documents.
Yeah, fine. Right. Thanks.
Okay. And I
Yeah.
will also propose like few websites which you can go through and register, which would have a lot of contents. Like you can, a lot of stuff to read. Like, and if I think you, so yeah. So also probably if you can, if you can tell me who has SAP Learning Hub access, then probably I can guide you like for certifications. I can send out like one, so you can start preparing for certification as well. So it will be helpful,
Okay.
like, by end of this course, if you do at least one certification, that would be great, like achievement, right? You are spending this
Hmm.
much money, then you should gain something out of it.
So what will be the charging for means fees for the certification in Ariba from SAP?
Right. So Ariba certification, right? So let me talk like I have 8 minutes. So let me talk about certification. So it's a cloud-based subscription, right? So you can go to SAP Learning or you can go to SAP Training Hub, I think. SAP Training, yeah. And then you can search for CE. I will send you all the details how you can register. So it's basically CER 006. That is for
Mm-hmm.
all cloud certifications. Then
Okay.
you would have you will have all success factors, S4 HANA, Activate, and then you would also have Ariba 4 certifications listed out there. So you can, so it's mainly, it's not like SAP certification where you go in the physically in the class, but it's more virtual. It's 24 by 7. You can take date any point of time. If you want to take date after, if you want to take exam after like 10 minutes, you can register after 10 minutes also. So it's that flexible. And then the charge is like, I think, so for US, it's around $550.
Okay.
So with $550, they offer like 6 certifications,
Oh.
right? You can go with 6 certifications, and each certification you can take like 3 attempts, I think. So let's say if you apply for P2P, and then first attempt you failed, and then second attempt you passed. So it will count like 2 attempts, right? And then you can repeat like 3 times. So you can do like, so that is valid for 1 year, right? So if you register today, it will be valid for 1 year, and then within 1 year you have to complete like 6 attempts. It can be same exam, it can be different exam. So I took like 6, right? I paid for it. I took like first, so sourcing I did twice, balance all I did in the one time. So I have completed my 5 attempts.
Okay. Okay, great. Thanks for this
Yeah,
information. So
no worries. Yeah,
my
so once we go through, I can send you like all the details, what are the books covered into that courses, and then what you should look into SAP Learning Hub.
so
So
how to
I would suggest like at least,
uh, yeah, yes,
yeah,
Ashok,
go
please.
ahead. Yeah,
Actually,
go
I
ahead,
was
go ahead.
asking. Yeah, actually, I was asking about how the questionnaires will be. So, what will be the examination hours? Like, 2 hours, 3 hours, or how many questions we need to answer? How will
Yeah, it
be?
will be, right, it will be 180 minutes. So it's
One eight.
3 hours.
Okay,
Right.
180.
Sorry.
Right. Okay, fine.
Yeah, 180 hours, and it would be, sorry, 180 minutes, like 3 hours, and the questions would be 80 questions.
Okay. So,
80
all are
questions,
all.
and passing it depends.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, so passing would be like 69 or 59, in between 59 to 69%.
Okay. Okay, fine. Right. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Ashok.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so any questions before we wrap off this session?
Yeah, thanks, Ashok. This is.
Yeah, no worries.
Tomorrow, what will be the topic we'll be discussing, Ashok?
So tomorrow
How
we'll
it is?
cover the SAP name.
Yeah. Please carry on.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tomorrow we will cover on, so still I have the leftover, I have to show one more deck on, like what are the different, so we talk about portfolios today, right? And then we will go deeper into now the actual products. So what are the different products named, right? So we should know all the names, right? What are the different offerings by SAP and how SAP sells it, right? And then that will cover like almost kind of 1 hour, and then we can start looking into like upstream side of it, and then we can start with maybe supplier management first, and then we can go from there.
No, okay.
So tomorrow,
So,
yeah, so probably I can go through, kind of like actual screens tomorrow, and then show you like basic navigations in Ariba.
okay. So, Ashok, here the thing is the system access, Ariba system access for practice. Do you have any idea of who can be providing? Suppose after this training session, if people want to practice on the system,
Yeah.
you have any in market in somebody is offering the system access for this, or how it is?
I actually don't know that, but so what I believe, like if you work for like like companies, so probably they would have their own license for the cloud, right? So probably in terms, so when I was working with one of the big four, then I had kind of my own company system. So I was kind of using that system and practicing on that. So I think everyone would have that, right? So probably you can approach your own company and try to get kind of like, which would have all the applications. That would be better. You have P2P, you have invoicing, you have like supplier management and contract and sourcing and all admin authorizations. So the outside, I'm really not sure, like who offers this. I can check that, but yeah,
Okay, thanks, Ashok.
yeah,
So
no worries.
one more thing here I would like to know is that is this class training sessions will happen only on week endings, or it will be on a daily basis? This training to
I think should be on weekend only.
only Saturday, Sundays?
Right, Saturday, Sunday.
And the timing would be same. Morning 7:30 a.m. as per India timings.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I think more details Subbu can provide you, but I think that is
Yeah.
what he talked about to me. But you
Okay.
can ask him
Okay.
like timings and weekend and
Okay.
all those things.
Now, okay, fine. We will ask. We will get the information from Subbu as well.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Right, Ashok. Thank you so much. And today's session was nice, and we could able to understand certain points which we didn't know. So
Yeah, and let
it's
me
a
know, like
really good
if
session.
I'm going like high level, or if you want to go, we'll talk more details. But if you want to understand like more about just stop me and we can discuss. I don't know if you want to utilize like time for everyone, so that we don't go into like one area of topic, or we don't want to
Actually,
spend.
the thing is going good here so far. Now, here the crowd here in this session is from so many modules like WM, SRM, and
Right.
BI, so everybody will have their own, functional or technical exposures.
Correct.
But for Ariba system, I think very few here. I saw one or two guys were working on Ariba, so they would
Right.
be able to see how well we are going on that and what exactly they were working on.
Right.
This
Right.
this
Sure.
actually this will be a good thing. So as the sessions progresses, then we will definitely give you the feedback how we are going and where we need any informations or
Sure.
much more detailed discussions are required.
Sure, sure. Because it's like big topic, right? So it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if you see like it's so many things to cover. So 40 hours is like just kind of overview, and then system knowledge. You will get familiar with all Ariba modules, each and every functionality of it, and then you can explore yourself, or we can have one more round of it. Where you can select one module and go into details into that module. So you get at least like one level entry into the project. Then
So
once you
we
are
will,
into any Ariba project, you can explore like multiple modules then after.
yeah. So we will be discussing on all the modules or any one particular module. We will be discussing on all the modules, right? Overview of all the modules and taking one particular module.
So probably I can go through all the modules. I can show like how things work end to end, right? So all the basic fundamental things, right? So that I would like to cover.
Okay.
And then if you so I I will spend equal time on all modules, right? If you
Okay.
see the course, then I would spend equal time on all modules, because if I spend more time on, like, if it's a supplier management, right? Supplier management itself is like a big course,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if we go into detail of each of those like scenarios, like there are so many tasks, so many templates. If we go through each of those templates, use cases, start discussing, then it will be kind of like we will never end that. It's like 30 hours by itself.
Mm-hmm.
So that part yeah, I am not sure. Probably, yeah, I don't know like how, like probably you can do it yourself, or we can do like because I don't know your interest, right? Someone might be interested in P2P, someone might want to go to sourcing, to contract, supply management. So I don't know. It's your choice.
Okay.
So
Okay, fine.
because we need this overview session to understand all the product knowledge, right?
Okay.
So we should know everything, and that's what I was talking to Shubhu. Like, should we frame this like, each individual module wise probably, and then we may
I
cut short this 40 hours into like 20 hours, and then focus on one scenario. So we can do that. So yeah,
So here what I would like to have the training content, I see it is a mix of the all the modules.
right,
So if there is a particular training on Ariba, any particular module, or in this mix of the modules also, we can have, if we are going through the overview of all the modules, then the module wise topics, if it is arranged, the training content in that way, like SAP Ariba sourcing, SAP Ariba procure to pay, procurement solutions, SAP Ariba supplier network. So
yeah,
these are all the modules what we were talking about. So
yeah,
under these modules, each module wise, all the topics, if it could have been given
yeah,
in that way, prepared in that way, this training contents, that will be better to understand, and it will be much organized way of
Yes.
learning, I think.
yeah. I
Yeah, really,
think we
that is
can
a
do
good
that.
idea. Really good idea.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah,
So that's
because
how we.
yeah, each module wise we will come to know what are all the sub scenarios are there.
Yeah.
Instead of
So
mixing all together and put it on one document.
Yeah, in that way we can have much organized.
Yes, really, it's a wonderful thought. Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
Thanks, Ashok.
No worries. Okay, anyone else? I see like Anil has raised a hand. So Anil, any questions from your side? No. Okay, guys. So if you don't have any questions, then probably we can connect tomorrow. Whoever is interested in this session, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Ashok. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Ashok. Thank you for your efforts. Yeah.
Have a nice day. Have a nice sleep for you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.